here, but now they're gone. Seasons don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind or the sun or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't fear the reaper. You'll be able to fly. Valentine is done here, but now they're gone. Romeo and Juliet are together in eternity. Romeo and Juliet, women every day. And Juliet, women every day, like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't fear the reaper. You'll be able to fly. Don't fear the reaper. Baby, I'm your man. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Blood on their hands, a serpent's breath, four shadows left in a house of death. A pack of wolves in a kangaroo court. Truth gets lost in a locked report. Moscow after midnight, blood on the rail. Every liar's hand on the killer's veil. The truth's a ghost in a phantom crowd. No one's innocent with silence this loud. Frat boys swear on a broken vow. Pi Beta whisper she lied anyhow. They're gonna get you said where the cameras sink. When timelines converge, don't blink. Moscow after midnight, blood on the rail. Every liar's hand on the killer's veil. The truth's a ghost in a phantom crowd. No one's innocent with silence this loud. The Orient's knife, the driver's call. Grub truck knack for the students' fall. They fed pain a name, they fed him a lie. The hangman's rope fits the one innocent guy. Moscow after midnight, blood on the rail. Every liar's hand on the killer's veil. The truth's a ghost in a phantom crowd. Everyone is guilty with silence this loud. Little monsters and pretty little liars. She heard the cries but stayed inside. A frozen shadow, eyes open wide. Phone in hand, the clock ticks slow. 8 long hours, why didn't she go? Stories twisted, changed with time. A shifting script, a jagged rhyme. What did she see through that cracked door? A silent plea and nothing more. Velvet laughter, starlit sighs. Ghosts in daylight wear disguise. Chaos blooms with truth defiers. Little monsters and pretty little liars. sirens wailed, a hollow grin, her conscience veiled. Friends in blood, but where was she? A stage surprise for all to see. Blatant lies in neon light, puzzle pieces don't fit right. Scripted tears and rehearsed cries, but the truth still burns behind her eyes. A wad of tangled web she spins, dancing lightly on her sins. Chaos blooms with truth defiers, little monsters and pretty little liars.
Good evening, my beautiful crime family. And it's finally here, Friday night with Birdie. Yes, everybody's been excited for this show, and he's excited, and I'm excited. Investigators are excited. Mods are excited. It's that night. Let's see what's all going on in the chat. Holy cow. Holy. Wow. Okay. I'm going to try to say hi to some of you. Okay. This is going to be a tough one. Carolyn Wood, good to see you. Lisa Hedrick, good to see you. Deborah Lynn Pauly, my girl, good to see you. Beck, good to see you. Shadow, good to see you. Leah Story, my girl, good to see you. Tiffany, good to see you. Julie S., good to see you. Johnny, Mrs. Johnny Knott, good to see you. Sisterhood Tribe, good to see you. Cryptic Conversions, good to see you. Hope Norris, good to see you. Haley, good to see you. Social Glow, good to see you. Delby Rush, good to see you. Swag, good to see you. Wendy Nelligan, good to see you. Pammy B, good to see you. Natural Healing, my girl, good to see you. Kent Kearney, good to see you. Phoenix Talks, good to see you. One of many, good to see you. And to everybody out there, good to see you. There's no way I'm gonna get to everybody. This is no way. Okay, and I thank you all for being here at Once Upon a Crime Time, and I want to introduce our guest, Mr. Birdie. Hey,
What's
Birdie,
up,
how you
everybody?
doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Tommy. Thank you for having me,
Good.
man. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you coming on, and I love the shirt. Yeah, the
Brand
Big
new
10. There
jersey.
you go, right
Yep.
there. All right, all right. You're ready to go, ready to rock and roll, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
What a lot of people don't understand is that we're both northern boys. We're yeah.
We made the joke, Tommy, about how unexpectedly the Midwest has had to red pill a lot of people, huh?
Yep, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, so Birdie's from Wisconsin. That means he's a Packer fan. And I'm from Minnesota, which means I'm a Viking fan. So the football season should be real interesting.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. But no, on a real note, Tommy. Yeah, I was going to say, man, thank you for having me on, and to your chat, thank you guys for being welcoming, and I'm excited for what Tommy and I have planned tonight. We talked a couple times this week, and we got some super exciting shit lined up for y'all.
Yeah, we do. That's for sure. Yeah, and there's a lot of people in here right now, and I thank you all for being here. Got quite a family here. They're very, very loving. So yeah, let's. What do you want to get to first?
Well, I think in general, how I kind of wanted to start at least my portion of it is on my lives, Tommy, and I guess like my feed, right? Like we all know the algorithm is a machine in itself. I've noticed
exactly. Yeah,
I've noticed a relatively significant shift in the narrative as far as people aren't buying this mainstream narrative about Brian Kohberger. You know, and you could look at it however many ways you want to, but people are starting to realize a guy who's questioning when he gets pulled over if he should back up or go through a red light, and he's talking respectfully to the police, probably wouldn't be driving the wrong way down the road, speeding at 4 a.m. away, and not say anything in court. So that's my opinion on it. I feel a shift in the general consensus that enough people are ready to speak out about, hey, this doesn't feel right, everybody. Your spidey senses, your sixth sense, it's going off.
There's something wrong. There's something wrong, and majorly wrong. It isn't, and it isn't just one area of the case, and that's what's crazy. It isn't just one area. The case, it's all areas. It's everything.
It is. I mean,
And
you and I spoke like parallel investigation type
exactly.
Stuff.
Yes. And I got slammed for that video. I had to take down a video because people slammed. I was getting like emails from creators and everything, and they just slammed me. So I ended up taking it down. But a lot of that stuff is coming through now, and a lot of that stuff people are looking at now. It wasn't so crazy.
It wasn't. And I just saw something pop up in the chat about if I've seen the selfie from today. And I texted my AI like photo analysis results to your producer, Tommy, on the back end. And
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting results. I'll just tell you that. That AI can't match the photos.
Okay. Right. Yeah, we're gonna get into some of that stuff. And a lot of people don't know. Sometimes I do have a producer in the back.
It's legit, Tommy. You're legit, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And she's a hell of a producer too, and a hell of an investigator. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yes, she is.
And okay, so let me take a peek here at what I got, because you did send me something new too, and I looked at that. And you gotta excuse me on this computer shit here. Sometimes I don't know if it's my computer or if it's StreamYard acting up lately. Okay, here's the new one. What was this?
Tommy, while you're doing that, I would like to ask your chat, is there anybody in the chat right now that is coming over from TikTok that was on my lives prior to getting banned?
It's taking a long time to
type a 1 if you have been.
Okay. All right, I got that. Let me see. Shrink that down for a second. Get rid of this.
I love it. I love the people in the chat.
I'm getting there.
You're good, brother.
Oh yeah, me too. Yes.
It's like a hive
okay, I'm looking for it. Okay, there we go. I see you. There we are. Now let me okay, I know there's stuff back there I didn't want to see. Okay, so can everybody see that? That's one thing I gotta ask. Is it showing?
Yep.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, who's that?
I know that guy.
Okay. Yeah, he looks familiar, doesn't he? Okay, I gotta X this out. Okay, then where are you? There we go. Okay, we're gonna be going through, and I'll tell you what, this makes more sense to me now. And an FBI agent has told me that this is what was going on, and I got slammed for it. But we're going to get into this a little bit. So, Birdie, what do we got here?
So this is one of the things that, unless you know to look through this lens, it might slip by. Excuse me. But once you do, it's really hard to unsee it.
Right.
And that lens, and that applies to obviously a lot of things in life, right? But in a case like this, where you see some of the most unprecedented gag orders, things that have happened in a court system that have never happened in the U.S. court system in over 200 years, where the defense has to prove a reasonable suspect so that there's no surprises in the actual trial, you start to question, well, what's really going on? Why does the judge bring up national security, things like that? So this presentation that I had sent Tommy chat was about, did we watch a parallel investigation where there's a federal operation or like some sort of sting going on, and then witness protection going on at the same time? So
going on. And
yeah.
And I ran shows on this, and that's what I got slammed on that. And because I went into another area about somebody not being nice to one of their daughters. And I got slammed for that one really bad. But, you know, I was being told by somebody associated with the FBI. So am I supposed to just blow that off?
Well, you know, what's interesting, Tommy, is that the chat in my lives, when I said it's like a hive mind, I really meant that. And so I put together a PowerPoint, because I like sarcastically said at one point, I go, did anybody even die? I was curious, because you look at the mainstream narrative, and that's why. So this, just to give the chat context, what Tommy has pulled up, it's pretty much a PowerPoint. If you look at it as like a quote unquote, like a pitch deck, like you have not heard anything outside of the mainstream narrative, the giant PR push that Brian Kohberger is guilty. And this is like a presentation to like slowly wake you up as we go through it. So I'm more than happy, Tommy, to walk everybody through slide by slide.
Yeah, that's fine. I was, yeah.
So I start with the mainstream narrative, right? Obviously, everybody in here is probably aware of the Idaho 4 case. It happened on November 13th of 2022. There were 4 victims. It happened at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Their cause of death was stabbing, and they were all killed in the morning, super early. And then there were still 2 survivors that were present and uninjured, unharmed. The suspect was arrested December 30th of 2022, being Brian Kohberger, which we've all seen his picture plastered all over the news every day, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
So
then I got this.
Yep. So now you start to look into a lot of people will be like, well, Birdie never looks at the court documents. Well, I do look at the court documents, but I'm a firm believer that the court documents only tell you what's like talked about in court. There's a story that's told before court gets involved. So
exactly.
This part of the presentation, right? I use air quotes for presentation, but this is about the court documents, right? You have a gag order that's issued on January 5th of 23. It applies to the attorneys, the investigators, law enforcement, the victims' families,
everybody,
which is highly uncommon. And I want to highlight that last bullet point, because you turn on your local news tonight, chat, and if you live near a city and you see some sort of like terrible event where someone dies, the people that are on camera talking about it are the victims' families saying, we want justice. If anybody knows anything, tell us. Please come forward. They talk about the victim or their family member in such a way that it would almost like compel somebody who knows something to come forward. And in average legal cases, like that part's rare to gag order a victim's family. But especially in a high profile or like some sort of intelligence adjacent case, that's standard operating procedure, because it's going to prevent it's going to prevent the public from talking about it.
Exactly. And then we have that Dateline thing coming out tonight, I think it is.
Oh.
And that's going to be more a bunch of bullshit. And Wayne B says here most of the last 2023 Dateline episode got debunked, and it did. And here they're coming out with another one, and it's going to get debunked.
Well, I'm sure it is. To be honest, I'm looking forward to the debunking, if you want to call that something to look forward to. As kind of like weird as that would sound, like people, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here, Tommy, I really don't, but it's just like the mindset that I'm in. You had said you were attacked for saying this, and you were really talked down upon for this. You're disrespectful. You're blah, blah, blah. No, you know what's disrespectful is that the American people, or the people of the world, we've been lied to so many times, and it's gotten us into situations or wars or things that have led to millions of lives being destroyed and destructed. That's disrespectful. So for us to question what we see on the news, the same people that did all that, it's not. This case has millions of stories on it, hundreds of thousands of hours on the news. We're simply picking out pieces that don't make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not doing anything wrong. I know that. Are we right 100% of the time? No. But
neither is the
prevented public discussion of any evidence, testimony, or discovery. You know.
And,
Go ahead,
and you know
Birdie.
what? I was just going to say, we're not 100% right, but neither are the people that are in a suit or a dress on the news. They're not right either. So
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, we could get into Ashley Banfield, but let's not.
Well, I'm ready if you want to. So if you want to go to that next slide, Tommy.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So for anybody that's not familiar with,
pay attention to this, folks.
Yeah, this is very important. And I'm not trying
This is important.
Yeah, this is like one of those slides where I'll give like a disclaimer of, I'm not trying to like over explain something that people think is simple because you've seen it in the movies. Like, this is coming right from the Federal Witness Protection Program's website. Okay. So how are you going to, or like, not necessarily their website, they don't lay it out, but these are things that, like, you look at the cases where after the fact they can talk about it, yada, yada, yada. All right. You're going to see the following that are signs of a staged removal operation. There's not going to be a social security death index or death record. There's not going to be an open casket funeral or any cemetery record. The digital activity after the date of death for the victims, you're going to notice something. There's going to be new identities that are filed under a sealed court. Notice the gag order. The property is going to be sold quickly to shadow buyers. The survivors are going to vanish or go radio silent, if that sounds familiar. There's going to be a massive gag order and a ton of sealed evidence. And the crime scene is going to be destroyed, which in this case, it was.
It was. Yes, it was. And I got to see what they're saying out in chat. What do you think about this, my family?
Yeah. We're going to go deep tonight, huh, Tommy? Let's do it.
Yeah, facts, Birdie. Facts. I love it. Yes. Yeah, and you do have the two survivors, and Tonka, I've already found indications of the witness protection program in play with one potential witness. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense, dude. There's a lot. Look at this. There we go. I mean, look at it. It all makes sense. It's just one after the Bingo.
Well, and I can appreciate.
Yeah, I love my family. They understand.
Yeah. I love that too, Tommy, because I don't care if somebody disagrees with it. I don't even care if they can't keep an open mind. It's like, if I'm going to listen to you regurgitate the mainstream narrative as like a talking parrot of what they say, at least let me get through my point before you get like hyper triggered and come at me personally where my point isn't even the point of discussion.
Right. And
so
this does make sense in so many ways. And then there's the date of death of Kaylee.
Yeah.
Which doesn't fit.
Well, and there's an interview, I believe, I don't know if it was on the Drunk Turkey show, but where Steve is talking about how like, well, Kaylee would have to go to court. And like the way that he says it, and without video, I don't expect a ton of people to understand what I'm saying, but the way that Kaylee's father talks about like how she would be in court or have to go to court for something on a recent interview is like, hang on. It's like almost you're talking in present terms, not like the unfortunate death of your daughter almost 3 years ago.
Right. Yeah. This makes more sense than anything. And that's why we keep coming up. We keep running into a wall. It seems like, you're doing this investigation. I'm investigating Linda Lane, and then you go smack right into a wall.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's happening in every part of the case. And right there, what's on the screen nails it.
Right. And it's like at a certain point, like the spoon-fed narratives cause more confusion than these alt theories, because people, when they hear these, they're like, that makes way more sense.
Right. Yeah.
So if you move on,
everybody see that. So if everybody sees this now, I'm going to read it one more time. Your SSDI missing Social Security death index death record, no open casket funeral, cemetery record. This is signs of a stage removal operation. Digital activity after date of death. New ID filed under sealed court. Property sold quickly to shadow buyers. Survivors vanish or go radio silent. Massive gag order / sealed evidence. Crime scene destroyed, which it was. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so we're moving up.
So now,
yes.
So now, knowing what we just talked to, everybody, knowing those points we just spoke on, let's talk about the survivor's bizarre behavior. You got a delayed 911 call from a roommate that saw the killer, saw the bushy eyebrows, wasn't touched, wasn't harmed. Her phone activity shows that of a normal morning. If you were hungover and in bed, you're on Instagram, you're Snapchatting your friends, you're calling people, you're on Indeed or whatever job site. But as we've realized, there comes a point where statements are contradicted. And also, there's no public interviews that are allowed. I use the reference of like, this is what seems to be a CIA level PR team that's brought in to manage this media flow. Like, what are they protecting with these two survivors? You then go to
and that FBI agent that I was in contact with said there was 3 other parallel investigations going on. Now, what does he mean by that? You know what I'm saying?
Well, we can get into that, but I mean, I have my theories. And
does it have something to do with this though? Right here,
I believe that it does. I believe that it does. And honestly, when I start talking about which, look, everything that I put out, chat, if I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna give a theory, I don't want to just like copy and paste somebody else's theory to a point like
Oh, hell no.
where your buddy says, hey, you can copy my paper, just change it enough so people don't know it's yours. No, like I go deep on my own thing, and I really, really try to have it be fully like when you hear this, it's coming just from Birdie. It's not, you know, I have the human factor of outside influence to, you know, what I see and what comes across my feed. But when I really put this together, it's really just my notes.
Yeah, and when I do my theories, they're all mine. You know what I mean? And that's the way I've been too. And actually, I'm ready to come out with a new one here pretty soon here.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay.
With information even from you, it's some information that you're putting out, things that I've seen again and rethought things, and it's going to be different than my other theories for sure. Yeah.
I'm interested to hear it for sure. That's that's exciting. And I think it's healthy to go back, and it's okay. Everybody, let me just, not that people in this chat don't know, but let me just say this. It's okay to not have a fixed mind. It's okay to learn new things and reshape the way you think about stuff.
Yeah.
It's fully okay.
Right.
That what you came out.
And it's okay to change your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's okay to change your mind. Right. And right now, just like in the news right now, I'm getting a note from the producer here that the Sonola leader going down in Oregon.
Well,
you know,
now you want to just talk about, is it a coincidence that that's on that same trafficking pipeline?
Oh.
That's up in Salem, Oregon.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah. That whole area up there is just one.
It's just one, and
big mess.
You got the president talking about it. You got Pam Bondi giving interviews on it. Like, guys, we're talking like, okay, so that's clearly a giant effing federal operation.
Yes,
it's not just like a local account.
And when I started, when I called Rory the very first time I ever even went on YouTube or anything live like that, and the reason I went on was I said it's a fucking drug hub, you know. And I knew how it ran, and I knew that line, and I said that's a fucking drug hub. Well, it's bigger than even I thought it was. Looking at it now, it's way, New Mexico, Utah. It's all a fucking just like a big drug hub over there. And I'm sure there's gonna be even bigger busts coming. Yeah. So how does that tie in? You know, we don't know yet, but
well, it would tie in. I guess here's what I would say. Do you think that the leader of that group would get caught in anything less than like a 2 to 3 year operation? Because I don't, and I even think that's short.
Right. Yeah. No, it's been going on for quite a while, and everybody has to remember there was like 40 agents there when the night that this happened. So something is definitely going on in that area, and that includes Moscow and Pullman.
Well, it absolutely does include it. And, you know, to kind of segue back to the media control and the image curation of this being some sort of staged removal because of an operation. You know, what's interesting is I understand that iPhones and the cameras on cell phones are they're much better quality, but like you look at the photos of these victims, they're like heavily curated. They're professionally lit, like every single one.
Right.
You know, there's no raw footage of the crime scene, chat, like zero. You know, none. The house is torn down, as we just talked about.
Here I don't know. We're looking at this. We're looking at this. He's reading from here now. He's going from this, letting everybody know. Go ahead.
Yep. And it's like, well, why would you destroy the crime scene? And I've gotten some flack from this, Tommy, but like, what are your thoughts on like, I said I would have bet a lot of money that the jury would have been bussed to that crime scene, but instead they're using like a fucking dollhouse now in court.
That's just, I've never heard of such a thing, Birdie, ever in my life. And I'm 64 years old, and I've never, ever heard of something like that. I've heard of them using 3D things and stuff like that, but not tearing down the house a year later or whatever, you know.
And even just the lead up, bro. Like, they gifted it to the university, but then there's questions on like, where did this money go? Did the oh so generous people that own the house get a $500,000 kickback to it? That's into the weeds of it. But regardless, guys, in the most recent high profile, wildest unaliving in American history, they're tearing down a crime scene prior to the trial.
That is just unheard of.
It's unheard of. It's
unheard of.
And then you stack that on top of the gag orders. You stack that on top of the court orders of the reasonable suspect other than who was arrested. And
right. Everything here, everything that the signs of a stage removal operation and red flags suggest a potential staging. Everything on here.
It really does, chat. It really does. And then you go to the autopsy silence, which is the last point. And it's like,
oh my God.
When have you ever seen a case that's this high profile with no autopsy leaks? And I say that because, chat, you think about a high profile case, there is always somebody the media will find that has a price tag to leak.
No, this is closed up. It's closed up for a reason, because maybe it didn't even fucking happen, right?
Well, and I used Jeffrey Dahmer as the example, being from Milwaukee, which, by the way, I will pause after I say the rest of this and tell a quick story, which you'll get a kick out of, Tommy. But even in the Jeffrey Dahmer trial, the coroner testified. We're not going to see a coroner testify in this case. I don't think we're going to.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. Yeah.
So
I highly doubt it.
So, chat, real quick. This is my, I grew up in Milwaukee, born and raised. Here's my Jeffrey Dahmer story. I used to live over by, if you've ever been in the Midwest, you probably have heard of Summerfest. It's like the biggest music festival. It's like Coachella, but it's like a Wisconsin Coachella. It's like $40 to get in. They got 12 stages of music.
Yeah, kind of like a moon dance. We have a moon dance over here that's just like that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. Fun times.
Amazing times. I mean,
right.
And I used to live right over by the Summerfest grounds. And there was like a corner store that I would go to for like booze before I had people over, yada, 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 whatever. You guys get the point. But I was in there one day, and the store owner, he got robbed for like some Skull Candy headphones. And my wife was with me. We were just dating at the time. But I said, how often does that happen? Like, are you getting robbed here? Because like that's a super nice area of Milwaukee. It's a very like foot traffic heavy. Like, you would drive in and park, and then you got like the tram that can take you all over the downtown. Like, it's the city, but it's more of like an experience in that area of Milwaukee if you've ever been there.
Okay.
So he goes, well, he goes, I beat Jeffrey Dahmer's ass. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, he used to live right down the street. And he like gave the building that he lived in. He goes, Jeff, and I know this is true because the way that he told it, and he's like, he's from the Middle East. And he goes, Jeff, he lived down the block. He used to come in here sometimes late night and buy frozen pizzas. And one night I caught him putting a frozen pizza into his leather jacket and tried to walk out. And this store owner's name. His name's Zach. I have the video on my TikTok profile, so this is true. I have the actual security cam footage of when the skull candies got robbed. But he goes, yeah, I punched Jeffrey Dahmer in the face, and Jeff felt so bad the next morning. He called my store and apologized and was hoping that I would allow him back into my store. So I'm just like, hang on. That is like the weirdest, like, I was in here when you got robbed for headphones, but now you're telling me you just punched Jeffrey Dahmer in the face?
Dahmer. Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. And did you know that I had, what was his name? I got his books, but I did a couple shows on Dahmer and the connection to Adam Walsh.
Really?
And the guy, yeah, I had the author of the books. Was it Willis Morgan or something like that? Will Morgan, or I got 2 books that he sent me, signed copies. But he was on the show, and Dahmer was in the area. He ran into Dahmer in the mall. That mall that yeah, and he was working 20 minutes away from where Adam Walsh went missing, and he seen Dahmer in that mall go into that fucking store, dude.
Holy
and
shit.
he didn't know it was him until years later. He was acting really weird. He was trying to get away from it. He was asking, I think his name was Willis or something, him some weird questions, and he thought this guy's really weird, and he was trying to get away from him. And so, I mean, it's stuck in his brain, right? A few years later, they show Dahmer on the TV, and he jumps up. That's the dude. That's the dude that,
he knew immediately.
He knew immediately. And it turns out that Dahmer worked 20 minutes away from there and drove a blue van. And that's what they talked about. Adam Walsh missing was a guy in a blue van. And
Wow.
Anyway, he's got a couple of books out on it. But yeah, I had him on the show. So yeah,
that's cool. That's a cool guest. I'm sure that was probably a very intriguing and entertaining show.
It was, yeah, it was. And the books are good. I can't remember something about Witness. God, I don't know what those books are right now, but I'll send you the names of the books.
Yeah, please do.
They're quite interesting. But anyway, back to this.
Yeah, so if you scroll down,
okay.
Now,
so we're all done here then.
Yep.
Okay. Autopsy Silence. Okay. All right. Here we go, folks.
So now, here is something as far as what Witness. So also, again, not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but WITSEC means Witness Protection. Okay, so it's the U.S. Federal Witness Security Program. It's used to relocate and protect informants, family members, or assets of some sort of like compromised situation where the feds are involved. Okay, you're going to have a name change. You're going to have relocation to unknown cities, which I will say, like Montana, Oregon, Idaho, huge WITSEC hub. And that makes sense because you wouldn't spread them out all over the place and have to have feds everywhere. You'd want like a perimeter of feds around them, but you'll have sealed legal files, gag orders, and non-disclosure shields. And in extreme situation, fake deaths. So here's what I want to say, and it's going to be right here. It's the thing in white, Tommy, if you want to circle that. Like,
and here, which one?
In the white bubble. No, right there where it says when
here, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
so on the right side of the screen, chat, when a CI, meaning a confidential informant, is burned or an operation needs to go dark, the feds can legally stage a violent event, create a high emotion public story, and they can relocate the target under the new ideas. That's a fact.
Boom!
Yes.
To me, that's a fucking huge fucking boom right there.
And
folks.
read what's underlined, Tommy. In extreme ops, murders are staged or entire lives are erased and rebuilt. And if you think about it, dude, there are people as powerful as governments that could take you and your family out. You would go effing hard if you're a protected asset and you worked for your government to keep you safe if you gave them valuable information.
You're right. Yeah, there we are right there. Yep. Wow. That's a huge boom right there, folks.
It's huge.
It is. Okay, let's go to the next one.
So this is where I start to speculate. And Chad, let me just give a disclaimer. From this point on, these slides get nuts. In a way that is like there are receipts shown, but like I would not be surprised if there's people that watch this and there's like slight cognitive dissonance, because again, I wouldn't put this out there for like rage bait or some sort of like whatever people comment on my videos. Like I've found all of this. Okay. So now we start to talk about, were these victims removed and really not killed? So why would the federal government and the witness protection program remove these people? Okay. So here are just a couple potential scenarios where the King Roadhouse would have something that the feds might be involved in. So Xana and/or Madison, they were informants that were under pressure. Kaylee discovered some information she shouldn't have. Ethan was a quote unquote collateral witness that was talked to and told about what was going on. And I believe that, and in this presentation, it doesn't say this, but I believe that DM or BF was the key protected asset. And so DM, her mother's federal cooperation made the house a risk, but also this is probably breaking on your channel right now, Tommy. There's really no evidence of Bethany existing before 2015. And if you look at what goes down with her family prior to that, I'm wondering if Bethany was already in WITSEC and that's what people found out in the house. I'll say that again. And I wonder if that's really what.
Say that again. Yes. Listen to this, folks, because this is important.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Buddy.
Okay. A lot of people talk about Dylan's family and the connection that her parents had some rug involvement, and maybe it was her mom that cooperated that made the house a risk. But when you dive into Bethany's background, her family also cooperated with a human trafficking federal investigation. And prior to 2015, there's like nothing on Bethany. So I wonder, is it people found out Bethany was a WITSEC individual? I don't know. Right. It's just like, it's interesting.
Is that the exculpatory information in a way too?
It could be.
But, you know, all of that is what that. Yeah, it's a, what do they call it? PSYOP or something, right?
Well, so let's get through the slides, Tommy, because the way that I wrap it up, that I will wrap it up is more so like, why would it be a PSYOP? Why would they add on other stuff?
Okay.
And it'll make sense.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're at that would explain, right?
Yeah. Yep. So if you want to read those, you can go ahead.
Okay. That would explain the silence from families, the sealed court files, the destruction of the house, and the rushed arrest of Brian Kohlberger. What better way to arrest all traces of these four people?
And that last question is so important.
Right.
You'd make everybody think that they were dead, especially if they had a super powerful Forbes 100 type organization in organized crime after them. Seemed like they were not alive. And you would make the media run with it because they clearly are smart in the way that they maneuver to get that big. They wouldn't touch that, knowing that every single person in the world knows that these kids, like you wouldn't touch them then. You can't, you got to back off, I would guess, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then they would come out with things like Dateline.
which by the way, I've already heard rumors about the Dateline. I don't get how they get away with that shit.
Either do I, dude. Either do I.
So, all right. So here, if you go to the next slide, Tommy. Now, this is where, do you let people cuss on your chats?
Yeah, they can cuss. Yeah.
All right, chat. This is where it gets fucking nuts because there is no SSDI, which is a social security and death index record for any of the 4 victims. All right. Now,
that's crazy.
Guys, now you can say
that's crazy, dude.
Now, here's what's wild, Tommy. You can say, well, Idaho doesn't let the SSDI get, I think it's like 30 years or 50 years. Well, it's like, doesn't that scream federal protection at a state level? Where it's like, we clearly have WITSEC people in this state. We're going to seal it for 50 years so nobody can request it. But also, in general, chat, okay, we're talking even like 6 to 12 months postpartum when this would normally reflect any legally confirmed death. Not only just in real cases, but even more so in high-profile cases, because people are incentivized through the media to leak this shit. And it didn't happen.
Yes.
So what does that imply? It implies they were either not officially filed under their social security numbers, which that would be possible if their identities were already scrubbed, meaning that they knew they had a WITSEC informant in the house. I believe it was Bethany. But it,
that's a good. Actually, that's a really good choice. That's actually a very good choice. I don't think Dylan is smart enough to do that. Well, I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. Bethany is pretty sharp.
She lawyered up right away, and I believe again that all of these roommates, there's a chance, chat. Like, I like to look through a bunch of different lenses. Okay, you're never going to see me not have, like, I won't have a fixed mind, but there's a chance that these roommates, chat, they were moved into federal protection status. They were removed from the public systems, and it was to protect a larger operation that was going on.
Right.
These next slides,
and Bethany could have been involved in that. There's no doubt in my mind, and it isn't just that. It's that she went to Nevada. She lawyered up. Then she wouldn't come back to testify unless she signed a thing saying they could not arrest her and bring charges at her.
Correct.
Now, and if you think about it, CIs, they do things illegally to get information. You know what I'm saying?
Tommy, you've heard about the guy in the mob, right? I forget his name. It was like Jack something. I believe I had Devil's Advocate on one of my lives. He talked about how the federal government let an informant in the mob commit homicides and robberies to continue the investigation. Yeah. And the U.S. government would frame other people to keep him inside. That's a fact.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about Bethany. She's probably done some illegal things because she is a CI and she was investigating certain things and she had to do some illegal things. So she would definitely want to sign something saying, you're not going to charge me if I go to Idaho.
Correct.
And that, yeah.
So
that explains that.
Yes. And Tommy, I have to race like a piss horse. I said that backwards on purpose. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Thanks, bro. Sorry, chat.
It's a piss break. And yeah, so what do you guys think out there? What are you guys thinking of this? What we're coming up with here? Now, this was told to me a long time ago. And I'm just glad that Birdie's here because he explains it so much better. And this is a very, very high possibility that this is going on. And that's my opinion. And it's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Yep, Lisa, when you got to go, you got to go. Yeah. Let's take a look at what he's got here. Okay, in real cases, especially high-profile ones, the SSDI reflects the death within weeks or months. What that implies, they were not officially filed under the SSNS, possible if identities were scrubbed. They were moved into federal protection status and removed from public systems. And that's what's happened in this case. And everything in this case pretty much fits that there is federal investigations going on there. And I was told that a long time. You all know that. I've told you that there's parallel investigations going on. And they're major. And is it the drugs? I'm sure it's the trafficking in general. Trafficking can mean so many different things. It can mean drugs. It can mean human trafficking. It can mean just about anything that is illegal. And trafficking is such a wide area.
Sorry about that, dude.
No, that's okay, bro. And I was just kind of going over your deal there. Get back to this. Yeah, I went over this stuff. What you hadn't gotten up. If you got something to say on this from here down, go right ahead, there, Birdie.
No, I was going to say that the next couple slides, chat. Okay. This is probably where, again, a disclaimer. This is so everything that you're going to see here. I went into the archive way back type of browser, like internet kind of sites, and I looked at all of this. But these people that have looked into this, like I've looked at everything that's on the screen, and I feel like, okay, I can present this because I believe that it's credible enough if you're looking at it through the lens of this WITSEC extraction. So now, Kay Ann Myers. It's a possible alias for Kaylee Gonzalez. Okay. Let's talk about Kay Ann and just Ann as the middle name, right? It's a super known pseudonym filler it's always used in federal relocation, right? It's common in WITSEC. Myers is a clean surname. It's high frequency, low background risk. This alias of Kay Ann Myers did not exist before 2022. It only has one phone record, and the mailing address used a federal routing service PO box. Oddly enough, the company that's tied to Kay Ann Myers receives federal defense subcontracting dollars. Which those are all signs of a relocated identity program. Now, This is insane. Okay, somebody took a picture of Kay Ann Myers. Chat, would I tell you that, like, I've been chatting with only available at not available War Deadpool. I've been chatting with like a lot of like internet sleuths. Okay, none of us can find these pictures, but we found the breakdown for all of these victims. Okay, they went as far as putting this into a facial recognition system. They had an 84% match. Now, let me just tell you
Check
this.
that out.
Okay, right. Chat. You take a selfie of yourself right now, and then you go find a picture of yourself from over a year ago. You put it into AI. Tell me if you even get an 84% match. All right. They're unique identifiers, jawline, like 84% match when it's ran through facial recognition. Like that's a hit. You know what I mean? Like that's a hit. You're like, that's the same person.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And especially with the unique identifiers there, the jawline, the eye spacing, upper lip curvature, brow shadowing, the hair, all of that.
And then they added glasses to the picture. Like I put that last bullet point in more so just to make the point of like, you add glasses. That's like a common like relocation trick. Like, I don't know, you wear glasses. Like, oh, that person didn't wear glasses. It can't be them. I don't know. It's one of those extra added layers. But if you guys remember too, right. So if you guys remember too, I talked about digital activity. Notice as I go through these next 4 slides, what you're going to realize is that all of them have digital activity. Now, this shit can't be faked. You can maybe be suspect. Like you can maybe be like, oh, that's a little suspect about the facial recognition. But digital activity, where there's a Facebook account that under that name that was accessed from Spokane, Washington. Okay. It was the linked Gmail address was created in November of 2022. The one where K.Ann Myers had an 84% facial match, that Gmail address linked to the Facebook was created in November of 2022, chat. And the metadata showed activity during the hours that matched known time patterns of Kaylee's former Instagram use. And before you think that shit is batshit crazy, think back to the Brian Laundrie and the Gabby Petito case. What did they do on Gabby's computer when they wanted to figure out if she was still alive? And if it was really just Brian looking on her computer? They tracked the metadata and the behavior of how they tracked how that person would operate on the computer, meaning they could see real-time metadata. They did the same shit for this profile, and it matched Kaylee's, just like in the Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. They were like, no, that was Gabby. That's crazy,
right?
Tommy.
It is, yes, no doubt about it. And also, this Marion M says, Tommy, same as the Kylie Rodney case, no birth certificate. That's why Upchurch said she wasn't real. So this shit can go on, and in different cases too. And I think that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you
I think
go
people
down.
are kind of trying to compare this to other cases, and actually some things are pointing to there could be even a connection to the Lori Vallow case.
Well, I would be interested to hear more about that.
I don't know
too much.
Yeah, I might get. We'll get into that backstage maybe, because there's some really interesting things coming out.
Now this next slide, chat. This next slide. Oh, this one about Maddie, if you scroll down, Tommy, is insane. Okay. This is one of the most compelling aspects of the Witsec angle.
Madison Renee.
Now, one of the questions that you would get asked is, why would they keep their names similar to their old identity? Tommy, any ideas why that might be?
Why they would keep their first names? Let me know what it is.
Well, I would say this. Tommy, you said, for 64 years, you've been Tommy or whatever your age is, right?
Yeah.
If you all of a sudden switch to Brian, could you act normal?
Yeah, that would mess me up. Now I see your point, because if people holler at you or something, you might not, if they holler a different name, you might not react.
it's much easier to get told, oh, you look like that person, versus having to completely assimilate with something you're not even naturally like behaving as, right? Like it's
Right.
easier to just be like, I've heard that a couple times. Yeah, I'm not her. Versus
Right.
now your name's like Brooke, and people call your name and they're like, wait, what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So
Right. It's easier to just to go with their real names.
right. So now this one is effing wild. Okay. So I'm going to start with the part that's in the white, because how this came about was there was a LinkedIn match for an archived job listing. The employer was a government data like consulting agency, which is again another federal subcontractor. You'll notice that denominator in all of these. Okay. She had an email that was briefly public that was a Proton email. Okay. It's secure mail for either spooks, right? Conspiracy theorists, or protected assets. But what's interesting, it was registered in February of 2023. So that's only 3 months afterwards. And it was Switzerland hosted. That pattern matches.
Switzerland hosted.
Yes, Chad.
Wow.
That pattern matches federal relocation framework. It's a secure contact point. There's a vague employment descriptor, and there's no prior history. Now, here is the part that's even more convincing than an 84% facial match. Chat. This was Madison Renee Music Instagram profile. Somebody thought that it looked like Madison Mogan. They did a 91% voice recognition result, to the point where the same vocal tune, the breathing cadence, and the microscopic consonant timing was the same. They matched on the S to T flick transition, the laugh burst timing.
Are you getting this, everybody? Are you getting this? This is why.
It's
this
fucking
is crazy.
wild. And a vocal fry degradation mid-sentence known as a speech trait, which is might as well be your fingerprint for your voice.
Exactly. 91% match.
And again, I would encourage anybody to go and try to find photos of this. They're
laugh burst timing. I mean, even to the last burst timing.
What really got me was the S to T flick transitions. Like, how do you say street? How do you say, stir?
Right.
Like, that's wild.
That is. And her name was Madison Renee. Wow.
Exactly. So now you go to, again, like, chat. I'm not just putting this out here to like blow smoke up your guys' asses. Like, you guys can go and find this. Okay.
Right.
Same thing. Now, it's always job listings. Okay. So Xana M. Kirsch, the possible alias for Xana Kernodle. Okay. Xana M. Kirsch appeared in the staff. Yep. So you're on the right page. Nope. Yep. Right there.
Yeah.
So in the white, Tommy, Xana M. Kirsch.
So does everybody get what's being said here? Oh, you're cutting out, bro.
No. I stopped talking. Sorry. I thought you were saying something.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm just saying, I'm hoping everybody gets what they're saying here. This is like Xana Kirsch. This is a possible alias for Xana Kernodle. In other words, there's a person out there named Xana Kirsch that matches this shit. Matches her, this one is 88% match.
It's an 88% match. And these were all found through job listings, which I find so interesting. And again, it completely upends and discredits the whole, you're just an internet investigator. Like, there are unbelievably talented people that can dig into stuff on their computers. And it's so interesting to me how the mainstream narrative determines which case is okay for that to be credible? Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie, that's okay. Karen Reed, that's okay. Idaho 4, you're a pro burger. They attack you for this. And I don't understand,
Right.
how does it change case to
Right.
case?
Right. And then you look at like the Pacer Ping phone, a sealed federal name change request was filed within the same fucking week.
The same week that this job listing went out and somebody found it. And it was labeled under Jane ZM under a security provision. So as you guys know, they do Jane and John Doe. It was Jane ZM.
Right.
All right. That's not death, chat. That's an identity reassignment.
That's not death. Yep. And then you look at the facial recognition results as 88% match. Unique identifiers as left eyebrow arc, lip ridge shape, lower eyelid length. Mother's last Facebook post vanished in December of 2022. What was the last thing the mother posted? This world isn't what it seems. We're doing what we must. No
God
contact since her family was likely relocated or silenced. Unbelievable, dude.
Unbelievable. And Boom is right. And Tommy, I know I'm on your show. One of the things that I do on my lives is I give a top dog award. Okay. That top dog goes that top dog goes to Bubbly Waters, because holy shit.
Oh, Bubbly. Yep.
Did they, I don't know if it's a he or a she, but did they just freaking
it's she.
Okay.
Bubbly is a really good friend of mine.
Well,
hey, Bubbly.
What's up, Bubbly? You just left an unbelievable freaking comment. Look at that, chat. Maybe that's why Dylan checked Indeed. Because everything that's been leaked about this WITSEC has gone back to job postings. So, Bubbly.
Right. But by the way, Bubbly has a kick-ass channel. Look her up.
I will for sure.
Yes,
thank you,
Look
Bubbly.
her up. Yeah. Thank you, Bubbly. Love you, girl.
That's awesome. That's why I love the chat, Tommy. Honestly, it's like a hive mind. It's unbelievable. Like,
right. Oh yeah.
I say this on my chat. I'll give myself a pat on the back. Like, I think I'm good at diving into some shit. There are people that make me look like a kindergartner compared to what their capabilities are and what they can look into. And I commend the chat for that, because it's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, chat is awesome. And comments. I'm always looking at the comments, and I'm always finding, especially with the family here, they're very smart, they're very intelligent and well-educated people. Most of them are. And I believe, I agree with you 1,000%, brother.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was a great comment. Honestly, that's the type of comment where it's like, you have to point it out, because that's like somebody whose brain is working like in cohesion with yours.
Right. Yeah, you can see Shadow said Bubbly did a video on student CIs. They became snitches. So the snitchers are snitching on snitchers. The students are actually snitching on each other. Bubbly does really good work, and she is a very investigative type, and she'll put out 3, 4, 5 videos a day sometimes. And she's very hard worker. I gotta say that.
And to even take that comment you just put on screen, Tommy, one step further, if you've gone to a college, which I did, I went to a very similar sized college as where the victim, where the victims went to.
Right.
I don't think, with how many times that the police showed up for noise complaints, that it wouldn't be unreasonable to think, were they already in with the local campus PD or police department for, we know this is a party house. We know there's going to be a rug scene here. If you cooperate
Yep.
with us, you won't be getting any tickets. I don't know. I don't think it's that far-fetched.
Say that again. They won't be getting any tickets?
Well,
Is
what
that
I'm
what you're
saying is this. Like, if you live in a super popular college party house in a smaller town like Moscow,
Right. Okay.
is it far-fetched to think that the local police or the campus PD wouldn't say, hey, if you see anything or if you see this person come to a party, we'll let you off the hook for any noise complaints, any underages, if you give us the info on it. I don't think that that's far-fetched.
That's not far-fetched at all. No.
Right.
Actually, that's probably pretty close to what happens.
Well, yeah, I would agree. And it's like, so now we go to the last one. If you scroll down.
Oh, you cut out there for a bit.
Oh, sorry. Bubbly. Thank you. I'm honored, Birdie. I've been subbed and was in your chat last night. Hell yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. She's awesome. Bubbly's awesome. So okay. Anyway, let's get back to. Okay, go ahead.
Well, if you scroll down now, you can go to Eric Chapman, who's Ethan Chapin.
Okay, so here's another alias for Ethan Chapin. Ethan Chapin.
Now, chat, like, what are the odds that people would find this online? Like, that's what I'm also saying. How many other high-profile cases are there? How does this happen for all four? You guys can see the screen and you guys can read what's to the left. I want to focus on what's on the right here in the white. Okay. You got a Venmo account that's in his name, meaning Ethan Chapin, Eric Chapman, that shows a payment receipt on January 6th of 2023. It's marked as a shared Uber. The tag on that transaction showed a Denver-based user that's linked to a university Greek organization in Washington. That account was deleted after this activity and was screen capped and reposted. And that's how people figured it out. Now, you look at the ghost identity theory, the Pacer filings, they show a sealed juvenile court ID motion tied to a name close to his. It was filed in Idaho, early 2023. And it was sealed within hours. Okay. Chapin was 20. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys.
Right.
I mean, that's a juvenile age as far as like, I don't know. It's just wild to me, guys. And now you look at the families to kind of get moving through this, Tommy, because to keep the momentum of what we just saw in the last four slides.
And also the SSDI death, still no SSDI match. Of the four, Ethan had the most public funeral, but closed casket and press was kept out. So, yeah, exactly. All these little things add up, right?
Exactly. They add up, but they tell a story in the same time. Because
they do.
Man, it's just wild. It goes back to Tommy, probably when like you were a kid, and I'm not trying to age you or be an asshole here. I'm just saying like when you
I'm 64, dude. So yeah, I'm an old guy.
So but it's like seriously, like would you consider yourself like awake prior to the internet? Because I don't know how anybody could have woken up with 3 major news channels controlled by a small group of people. It would have been difficult.
It was different it was really different back in those days. Yeah, it was just a total different thing. I think all of this stuff has been going on, but probably not so much 30, 40, 50 years ago. You know what I mean?
Well, where I was
done more now because of the trafficking is so, so huge. The CIs and all that kind of stuff that really wasn't going on when I was growing up. But nowadays it's totally different.
But and I say this respectfully, but it's like, do you think that it wasn't known because there wasn't the internet? I've always said these powerful people that
that could be.
They didn't expect people like you and me, decades apart, to get on here and chat in real time with an unbelievably intelligent like group of people in our chat and dissect.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they didn't. No, they wouldn't expect that at all. We just never heard of this kind of stuff. Well, even me, I didn't think of this kind of stuff until this case. This case has opened my eyes to everything, dude. Everything.
Me too, brother. Me too.
Yeah,
it's like really a vortex.
It is, and I think most of the family out there would agree. They probably didn't think of this kind of stuff until this case either. I'm almost sure of it.
So, Tommy, if you scroll down a little bit, dude.
Okay, hold on. Let me get there. Okay.
Here's where it all ties together with those aliases, chat. Is you look at
here we go, people.
This is where people say follow the money. Well, not only, and I'll say this humbly because I had help of the chat, but I have not seen any other creator. I say creator in a way of like, I don't know what else to call what we're doing here. Investigator, whatever you want to say, talk about the funding that you got me.
Hold on a second. You're cutting out a little bit. Let me get. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me? All right.
Yep.
Okay. What I was going to say is that I have not heard anybody else outside of myself and my chat talk about the funding that Washington State was receiving for predictive criminal behavior in a non-clinical setting in emerging aged adults. Okay, so that means that you're going to look into predictive criminal behavior in college-age students outside of the classroom. And now, after the fact, Idaho is getting millions of dollars for the STOP Act to prevent violent acts of crime from happening on campus. I'm not saying that Steve has seen my videos, but he's like, there's people out there saying that Washington and Idaho and the feds, they're all in on it with some funding. And I'm like, it's not hard to follow, dude. It's public information. You can literally look at it. Washington State, where the killer went to, got millions of dollars to essentially study who the killer was. And now Idaho is getting millions of dollars to stop what essentially happened to the victims on their campus. All federally funded from the NIJ, which is the research arm of the DOJ. So you talk about following the money. Well, let's look at the property records and the money trail of each of these families here that's shown on the screen. Okay, you got the Goncalves family, or the Gonzalez family. They sold their property within 90 days to a private buyer. There's no listing history. Okay, Xana's family. Address is abandoned. The mail is forwarded. Guess where it's forwarded to? It's a federal address. That's the forwarding trace. Maddie's family.
That's crazy.
I mean,
that's
guys,
crazy.
Look
dude.
At this shit.
Look at that shit. Look at it. All of it. Morgan family, out of state relocation, no sale record,
it's all in trust.
Yep, Chapin family, home placed in trust, same week as funeral.
I mean, guys, what are we doing?
Crazy.
Like, so you got all four families. They showed movement or asset shielding behaviors, which, look, I'll never come at people for having money and not wanting them to know of it. But what are the odds that all of these families have enough money where they're asset shielding in this situation, in that house, given the high profile nature of this case? That is not a coincidence, everybody.
Right. And here's another thing too. And you talk about the witness extraction. Okay, witness extraction. Okay. Does anybody remember this little saying? I'm here to help you. Does anybody remember that little saying? Does anybody remember that little saying? I'm here to help you. That's extraction, folks.
It's not only extraction, Tommy. So many people wanted that to be some psycho unaliver as he's about to kill another person, saying that to somebody who's already being brutally killed. No, I would argue there's one of two things that happened. It's either a second murderer that they heard that they didn't want to end up getting a K-bar to themselves when they came into the room because it was taking too long, and they go, it's okay, I'm here to help you, and they were in there. Or it's a federal officer that comes in and is like, guys, don't be scared, I'm here to help you.
Yep. Exactly.
So you can skip the next slide, Tommy. You can skip the next two. There's really nothing that's not repetitive on those two. It's more so just to hammer the point home. But if you go to the second to last slide.
Okay, well, this kind of goes over everything now, right? So far this is what we've gone over. Okay, did anyone really die? Kaylee Gonzalez, suspected visual match found in Spokane, Washington, on a corporate training page for a logistics company. Goes by Kay Ann Myers. Face 84% match. I mean, come on, folks.
That's crazy.
It is. Page was removed within 48 hours of sleuths posting it. Madison Logan, account under the name of Madison Renee, seen on TikTok in March of 2023 with makeup and style distortion. Voice match attempted via AI voice print overlay. 91% probability match. Account deleted, reposted under VPN cloaked IP from Virginia. Xana Carnota, Bitmoji style avatar resurfaced and snap map monitoring by digital surveillance hobbyist in late 2022. Facial geometry or whatever from older posts cross compared to Z Kirsch. Facebook account listed her birth year, but in New Mexico, linked to a small town charter school staff listing. That profile is now temporarily unavailable. Ethan Chapin, public-facing match posted from a university student registry in Montana using the name Eric Chapman. Red hair, similar height, build, identical ear structure, often ignored but highly distinctive. Photo pulled offline after email threats were reportedly sent to the original poster.
That's insane, Tommy.
That's insane.
So now this next slide where we talk about Brian Kohberger, it's more of a generalized slide. So there's not as much meat to this slide as what we just talked about, but it's important to recognize because you look at the look at the psychological profile, the academic exposure, the narrative compatibility, the arrest timeline, the gag orders, and the stalling of the trial. These all look at the bottom line. It says you don't stumble into a narrative that clean. It was built around Brian Kohberger because it had to be in order to protect the informants or the operatives that were inside that house. I truly believe that.
Exactly. Say that again, because it had to be in order to protect informants or operatives inside that house.
You don't get a narrative that clean with a incel loner criminology student, yada, yada, yada. That's just like stalking pretty girls. Come on, chat. Like, seriously, you don't stumble into that. That's crafted.
Psychological profile, academic exposure, narrative compatibility, arrest timeline, gag order, and trial stalling. No confession.
So, Tommy, I don't know if your chat has heard this, but Phoenix Talks is one of my most common guests, and she's incredible. And her and I have built. Yeah, she's great. Or I personally love how we riff off of each other. But what we really talked about recently was Brian Koberger was one of 2 students to get a recommendation for this internship out in Idaho from a professor that worked extremely closely with the BTK. Right. So the fact that he got turned down, is there a chance that someone like Brian Koberger would be like, well, let me just look under the hood. Let me see what's going on out here. Because why would that internship be in a little town in Moscow, Idaho? Could it be because maybe everyone's corrupt as hell working on a drug trafficking or a human trafficking pipeline? Oh, and then to take it even a step further, you're gonna be the fall guy. You're gonna literally be the person that breaks his case. He was so smart as far as a criminology student, which, let me remind the chat, there's a difference between criminology and criminal justice. Criminal justice is like the police and the court system studies. Criminology is how people that commit crimes think. So everyone that wants to say, oh, he's a psycho for wanting to know about these Reddit surveys and all that shit, dude, that's his major. It's his literal. It's crazy how people don't see that.
Right. Oh my God.
And you combine that with, like, look, I believe that Bethany Funk has been in witness protection since 2015, ever since her parents cooperated. And then you add in Brian Koberger on why was that internship placed out there.
Right. Lots of questions, and these questions point to certain things, and that's what we're trying to say. Is it all fact and true? I don't know if we're saying that. Are you? It's all. There's always speculation, folks. There's always speculation that happens, but you have to look at some of this stuff and go, "Oh my God, that's just like you say. It's crazy. It's wild. It's wild."
Well, Tommy, I'll ask you this, brother. Do you know what? And people that follow me on TikTok or have been in my lives, they know that I love to say this, but do you know what the term coincidence actually means?
Yeah, it's coincide. Is it coincide? Yep. Or
it's a mathematical term, coincide.
Yeah.
And
coincide.
That means that 2 angles can't fit together any other way. Our phrase of speech is actually the opposite of what it means.
Yeah.
Like a coincidence means like, oh no, they line up perfectly.
Yep. And that's why I say there's no such thing as coincidences.
Exactly. So this next part,
okay,
Tommy, this might shock your chat. This next slide.
Are they feds? Are they feds? And this when I seen this, when I opened this today, I'm going, okay. Actually, it made me think. It made me think, brother.
Well, we just kind of touched on the Brian Koberger aspect, right? Of the criminology student, the one of 2 to get recommended. I want to focus on dude to the right. Kaylee's father.
People.
Let me ask you guys this. If you didn't know that was a victim's father and you just had to guess on a multiple choice of what this man did for work, how many people do you think would say cop or fed? Chat, type a number 1 if you think that guy looks like a fed. If you can look through the lens that you don't know what he does in a living or you didn't know anything about it.
He looks like a fed to me.
He's a fed boy.
A fed. He's a fed. Yeah. And then you have to think about what he did for a living. The what do you call IT?
and then hey, Tommy, and then in the beginning of the interviews when he's in front of the Moscow Police Department, he goes, us old people, we don't know what a digital footprint could do. And we need a family lineage company to come out here. And maybe it's a family member. Get the hell out of here, bro. You are so
right
into the IT world. Stop saying you don't know about a digital footprint. And isn't it interesting
exactly
how I just can't. They're narrative planting everybody.
right and I like what you got here, controlled grief pattern. He was emotional when it fit the media arc, then calculated when pushing a narrative. He called out law enforcement failures early, but never too far. Never blew the whole operation wide open, like he was told to push, but within limits. And that's exactly what he did.
My favorite part of that, Tommy, is what father. You look at his interviews in the beginning where he's grieving, and now you look at the interviews on like the Drunk Turkey show, or I always forget the lady's name for the fifth time. Who is it that you said you won't talk about? Popular lady. You mentioned it in the beginning of the show.
That I won't talk
Laura,
about?
No, not that you wouldn't talk about, but you were talking about Laura Phoenix. If you're in the chat, help me out. Nancy? Ashley? Okay. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
But I can't remember it.
Ashley,
I'm the one that
Ashley Banfield.
Oh, Ashley Banfield. Yeah. Oh, right. I won't talk about her.
Yeah. Well, I thought you had said something about that in the beginning of the chat. So, what I'm saying though is whether you look at Steve in the first ever interview outside of the Moscow Police Department, or you look at him on the Drunk Turkey show or Ashley Banfield, he's using legal and federal language like chain of custody, timeline conflicts, investigative integrity. Chat, that is not normal civilian talk. That is Fed talk. That is Fed talk 101.
Right.
You're not a grieving father that's weeks away from a Supreme Court capital case with a firing squad for the first time in 30 years for your daughter and her best friends that are unalived, going on and conducting yourself in interviews using those terminology. You're not. I'm sorry.
Right.
Sorry, Tommy. I'm crashing out right now.
No, you're doing fine, man. And the strategic leak vector. He was the only family member to speak on Kaylee's autopsy, suggesting insider access to sealed documents. If he's getting that info, he's either being used to selectively release info to shape public opinion, or he's being briefed as part of a larger Fed strategy.
Say that again, because I also think that's a huge possibility if he's not a straight up Fed, is that he's selectively chosen, whether the Feds had dirt on him and his crypto or whatever his background is. He was clearly chosen out of all of the families to be the one to leak info. And he only goes on these interviews prior to some major shit dropping.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that would answer so many questions of how he acts when he is on these interviews. Think about it, people out there. My family, think about this. Think about how he acts and look at that right there and tell me it doesn't fit. Because it does.
It does. It's just hard for people to wrap their head around.
Great work, Birdie. Great fucking work.
Thank you, Tommy. And if you go down one more slide, let me just cap this off. Let me put a cherry on top of it. Because
okay. Oh, hold on here. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm there.
Nope, keep going down. Go to one more slide.
Okay, all right. And one thing here, Kohlberger wasn't a rogue. He was placed on assignment likely to study criminal psychology, maybe even infiltrate criminal behavior groups or monitor cold case patterns. Okay, so we'll scroll down. Oops. Okay. Here we go. Final thoughts.
So this is where
I want to make sure that the family knows that Birdie put this all together for tonight's show. And this is an amazing fucking work. And man, I commend you, Birdie. This is just totally fucking awesome, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that because look, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to speak for the only people that are digging into stuff, but like I said, there's a certain sort of, I don't know if like pride is the right word, but I know there's so many talented people that are in the chat that do their own research. I feel like it's like, you know what? I'm going to put my own thoughts out there. They could be speculative. They could be wrong. Tommy, I respect you for saying like, I don't know if I'm fucking right, but I'm going to put it out there. Here's what my brain thinks. And I'm the same way.
Exactly. Yeah. And when it looks that way, we can sit there and go, I 100% agree with this, but it doesn't mean that we're saying that out there. I mean, we have to be speculative.
Yes. Yes.
When we have to make that point clear, because we do run channels and, we have to be careful what we say on YouTube and all that bullshit. So, but you're doing a fantastic job, and everything that you've said really fits, and it fits what the FBI agent told me was going on.
Man, exactly. I would love to have that agent right now for like a third person in this interview to like give perspective. I've been trying to get an ex-homicide detective to come on my chat, and I'm chipping away at it.
I've thought about that too. Yeah. And I know a couple of them actually. I would love to have them on just to get their thoughts on it.
Dude, before I go into this last slide here, Tommy, the guy that I'm trying to get on, I don't know if anybody in the chat has heard this, but do you guys remember the Slender Man killings where those two teenagers attacked? Okay. So the guy, I'm from Wisconsin. Okay. I grew up in Milwaukee. It's okay. Was I cutting out?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Slender Man killings where the two teenage girls tried to stab their friend to death. It was in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Okay. I grew up in Milwaukee, which is 20 minutes from there. The guy that was first on scene was the assistant coach in my Pee Wee football league with my father that found the girl out of the woods on the trail. He was on the cover of Time magazine. Okay. He's an incredible dude. And even prior to me going down this route of like putting stuff out on the internet, I'll never forget the way that he described finding her. And he said it just looked like a bunch of mini footballs. Like he was like, there was blood, but not what you would expect. Now he put that hand in hand with, these were young girls with not much strength, but I would love to get him on here. Now he's not retired yet. He's not retired. So he's just an ex-homicide agent. Like he actually, I believe I haven't talked to him in years. I believe though, the last that I heard, he works at like, I think he's like a school officer. So I don't know if he'd be willing to come on and talk about it, but man, I would love to like, maybe, I don't know. I've been chipping away at him, because I'd be so curious about this case.
Right. Just to get that opinion, Right.
I mean, that's a super high profile case too. And he was first on scene. He found the girl.
Right. That's crazy. Wow.
So here's what I'll leave everybody in the chat as some final thoughts. And I've said this slide before. I'm not saying with certainty that this was faked, but let's put it this way. In a world where facial recognition can be deep faked along with voices, digital IDs can be manufactured. Entire false flag operations are documented in history. You can look up Operation Northwoods, ones that have gotten us into wars where millions of lives are destructed and destroyed. You better believe that the technology exists and has existed to stage a multi-victim event and make the world believe that it happened to accomplish a bigger agenda. Okay. When a crime has no uncensored photos, no forensic leaks, no raw witness testimony, you don't have a case. You have a story. And that's where I'll leave everybody, because what we just walked through it's a reasonable explanation with reasonable things that you can look up yourself. It's not like baking a cake where you can just Google it, but you can find this shit.
Okay, Joe P wants to know what the bigger agenda is, and I do believe that because there's some really major investigations going on. I would say that their lives were probably in danger.
Do you want me to speculate, Tommy? Do you think your chat's all right with that?
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm speculating. But I love speculating. Go ahead, Birdie, speculate.
All right. I believe that this has everything to do with the third-party DNA databases and the feds making it a legal loophole to get your DNA without a warrant, because
scary.
It is scary because we all mindlessly click the terms and conditions and I agree to this. And I don't think that the feds should be able to go into your parents' garbage can, grab something that has your DNA on it and trace it back to your cousin that spit into a tube that wanted to find out if they were part Viking 10 years ago, and then somehow get you to the scene of the crime. Especially in this case with Brian Kohberger, where it's a Supreme Court case, death penalty by firing squad case. You would expect everything to be on the up and up through and through. And Ann Taylor can't even get the goddamn chain of custody on the DNA on why it came back doubled in size. I believe that the feds will never let a good tragedy go to waste, and they will always codify and make law some sort of American right overreach on the coattail of a trauma. And if you don't think your government, which by the way, you should learn about the government that governs you, if you don't think that that government will stage a tragedy to then allow you to emotionally palate an American if you don't think that that government will stage a tragedy to allow you to emotionally palate something that would normally be looked at as an overreach on your rights, well, I would say open up a history book that's not done by the Rockefeller agency type stuff. You guys want to go deep? I'm just saying, chat, we are always subjected to fear, and slowly but surely our rights are always taken away in the name of a monster, but it never stops with that monster. So if you think that this is going to stop with just Brian Kohberger, that's cute. It's not going to. It's going to become the standard, and this ability with DNA.
You're right. And the thing is, people, it's like almost like a dumbing down of America. The more you hear about it, the more it kind of numbs you. And then you just kind of accept it as, oh, that's just the way it is, and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Birdie?
Yep.
And I believe that is a process that's going on right now. And one thing I want to say to the chat too is Birdie's channel is right there. Coco's got it listed. It's on the screen. She's got it listed in chat. And make sure you guys go to his channel and sub up. He's a king over in TikTok, and I've actually seen this. I was in one of his videos watching his live, and I seen him get over 300,000 likes on one video, on one live. So he's awesome, and he's starting his YouTube. The last I seen, just like a week ago, he only had 300 people. Now it was like getting close to 2,000. I don't know what you're at now, but it's starting to boom. So everybody get over there and definitely sub up to this to Birdie, because as you see, he is awesome. Anyway, well, I had to say that, Birdie.
No, Tommy, you're the man for that, and I appreciate it. And I really genuinely would love to do this again. And to everybody that has followed me from TikTok to the transition to YouTube, thank you, because if you've been in those lives, you know how much I lean on the chat, and it's just great to see people follow it over because it's not just a social media thing, everybody. It's like, and this sounds so corny. I feel like maybe I'm saying this on behalf of everybody, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but it feels like there's a movement, not just with the Idaho 4 case, but with just people getting sick and tired of being gaslit by people in a suit and a tie on their 4 corporate channels that have lied to us for decades.
Right. YouTube is actually, I don't watch the news. I watch is on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Personally, I don't know the last time like my wife and I had like a cable channel on our TV.
Right.
But no, give it up for Tommy, everybody. Thank you so much, Tommy. You've built a really great following, and I've seen in my comments alone, Tommy Jude sent me. So, dude, you're the man for that. And you're great.
Well,
thank you.
You're welcome, bro. Yeah, but you come out with some really good shit. The technology definitely has to exist to stage a multi-victim event and make the world believe it happened. Yeah, that is just unbelievable. When crime has no uncensored photos, no forensic leaks, no raw witness testimony, what you have isn't a case, it's a story. Exactly. Amen. Beautifully put. Amen. Yes. So let me get back to this screen. And where am I? Where'd that damn thing go? Where did I put that thing? Okay, well, I'll just do it this way.
Real quick, too, Tommy, if you don't mind. I'm curious in the chat. So one of my best friends, gave me this jersey. He's an IU grad. He goes, hey man, I got a surprise for you. I got this IU jersey. It's like a game worn jersey. He's like, I guarantee somebody in the chat has gone to IU. It's like the largest alumni. I'm just curious. Has anybody gone to Indiana? He wanted me to ask.
Has anybody gone to Indiana? That is the question. Has anybody gone to Indiana?
Okay, Love Tina said yes. That's awesome. I told him, I'm like, I bet there's going to be at least one person because the IU alumni is huge.
Right.
He's watching right now, so yeah, he's probably stoked to see a couple yeses go through. It is the Hoosiers, yes. Someone said go blue. Okay, now he's gonna be pissed.
Here we go. Haley, IU grad. IU grad right there. Haley.
Love that. That's awesome.
Lovely. Okay. Oh, and then Kimberly Lindsay there.
That's awesome.
All right. Thank you, Open Mind.
Mizzou.
Isn't that the Hoosiers? That would be. Yes, it would be. Right, Terry?
Yeah, that's awesome, Haley.
And we have people that live there, of course. My husband went to I'm on my J. My husband went to IU. So yeah, we got a few out there. Yep.
That's awesome. He called it. He was like, I guarantee it. And I'm like, I'm sure there is. There's a lot of people from IU. I think they have the largest donor alumni. Roll Tide. It's hard to be a Badger fan, chat. All right. It's hard. And the Bucks broke my heart this postseason too. We were talking about that before the live, Tommy, about how I think it might be time that Giannis, we cash in on Giannis, unfortunately.
Right. I know my family wanted us to get into the rituals a little bit. I don't know if that fits in with this show or not. Is there anything you have to say about that at all? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'm more than happy. I have a guys. I'm a big I do all my presentations on Canva. So any live that I do or any video that I put out, like I said, I put my notes in Canva. I have an entire freaking spreadsheet on the roles of the rite of the twin ritual. So Tommy, I don't know if it makes sense to do another live, or if you want me to briefly touch on it, I'm more than happy to, but it would probably be one of those things where if people wanted to be able to wrap their heads around it and look through that lens, it would probably be
maybe we do a different live on that one, because this has turned out pretty good, I think, and it really nails down what I wanted to nail down on this live.
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to come back on. I'd be honored. And I have like a very similar presentation, to the point where, as morbid as it is, I do believe that it's like we can all be mature enough as adults to be like, okay, I'm going to put a victim's name next to a role on why this ritual would be done in the manner that it was.
Right.
And I think you've seen that probably. I emailed you it.
Yep. I've got it. So I just don't know if I want to get into it on this one, because this is really where I wanted to go on this one. And especially after I got it and after you sent it to me, it was like, oh, this fucking great.
I knew you were gonna like this one, dude, because I went hard on this presentation. I was like, just
right.
Yeah.
And I love the presentation types, and I've kind of gotten away from that in the last month here, and I got to get back into that.
It helps. It helps.
It really does. Yeah, it really does. And I get kind of lost when I don't have it. So right, yeah. Dalby's in here and stuff. Yeah, it's been a good show though, and I'm really happy that you came on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. And let's do a ritual one. Let's do it. Why not? Right.
All right. Yeah, we'll do a ritual one. Everybody, you hear that? We're gonna do a ritual one, and we'll let you know when that is. I'll have someone get a hold of you. And
okay.
We'll line that up. Yeah. And yeah, that sounds good. And what a great presentation you did. I really appreciate you being on, Birdie. And welcome to fucking YouTube land.
I'm happy to be here. That was awesome. I gotta say, it's already it's taken some getting used to as far as like my flow, but I can tell like one of the things that I've realized too is it seems like on YouTube, I feel like I'm amongst people that like you look at it from like a workout or like a sport or like a job. Like there's people that are better than you that you want to make sure you put out quality stuff on YouTube. Like TikTok, anybody can throw a minute video out there. YouTube, it's like so I'm excited to be, a part of that. And thank you again for having me on.
And you're gonna boom. I can tell you that right now. It's gonna boom. And just give it a little time and it will. I predict that right now.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it, man. I got a bunch of stuff, and to everybody in your chat, thank you guys for welcoming me in, and I had an unbelievable time right now. So, yeah.
And family, if you aren't subscribed to him, go to his channel and subscribe definitely, and like his videos. He does pump out a few videos, so yeah, he will keep you up to date on stuff.
I go live. I go live every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central. And it used to be on TikTok Live. It's now on YouTube. So 7 p.m. Central is when I go live.
So we'll be going on at the same time on Fridays and Mondays, but that's all right.
Well, hopefully we'll start. Tommy, I would love to, to have more of these, because I don't know how many guests you've had on. I mean, I've watched through your videos and stuff.
Tons. I've had Cy Ray on here.
No shit.
Yeah, I've interviewed Cy Ray on here. Yep.
Oh, dude,
I'm the only one. I'm the only one. Then I got Harsh coming up in June. He's another big one. And,
I'm honored, bro. Yeah. Thank you, because I feel very like lucky and blessed. Like, again, it sounds weird to say it for YouTube and this, but it's like it's really rare to find people who they admit when they're wrong, like you did from the jump on this show. You're like, hey, we're speculating.
Right.
I know that. It's just really nice to be
Yeah.
around other people that think the same way that you do. They don't get offended by everything, and you can just talk openly. And
Yep.
so yeah, I mean,
That's
I
the
would love
way
to come back
go.
on, talk about the ritual, talk about the symbolism, talk about the food truck. I got an entire thing that, like, dude, it'll blow some people's minds. Where I'll give a little teaser if you don't mind.
Yep, go right ahead.
So everybody was wondering why Maddie and Kaylee were found in the same room or the same bed, right? There's a ritual that it's called the Rite of the Twins. And it's all about the duality and mirroring of people. You look at the speculated message that was left on a TikTok comment of a certain frat member that was then scrubbed and deleted. It said Queen. Well,
Right.
the archetype name for the main offering in this ritual is known as a queen. It's a queen offering. They receive the most wounds, and their twin is their reflection. You look at Maddie and Kaylee being best friends, both pretty girls, both popular.
Right.
It goes deep to the point where if you can wrap your head around, like, there's some weird shit that happens in this world that's been proven out time and time again.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I did read your thing on that, and yeah, that'll be a hell of a show when we do it, bro.
That's the one that I've probably gotten the most. You talked about, like, the Witsec. People just thought I was fucking crazy for Witsec. For the ritual, super popular creators are like, you're disrespectful. And I'm like, what's disrespectful is that people don't know the truth. I'm trying to help.
Right.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
like this could have happened, everybody. There's some messed up people out there.
There is some really fucked up people out there right now. And these ritual, I mean, I've seen people in robes. I've seen it with my own eyes. So they can't take it away from me. Never. They can blast me and whatever, but I know what I see with my own fucking eyes. So yeah, but yeah, we'll save that. Save that. We'll line up a show on that. Sounds good. But thank you very much for being on. And I think that'll probably do it for the night.
Awesome.
Let me see what I got lined up here. I want to look at something here before I do, because I don't know if I want to do this or not. I don't want to get slammed on this video. Yeah, that's scary to do right now. I think I'm going to stick to things I haven't been blasted on. Okay, anyway, thank you very much, Birdie. And again, everybody, go sub up, like up his channel, and around, Birdie.
Thank you, brother. Cheers to everybody in the chat. Thank
peace,
you, everybody, for coming out.
Man.
Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Take care.
Yep. Take care, brother. See you later. Okay, there's Friday night with Birdie. What do you guys all think? What an awesome night. That's what I think. Yes, there you go. Oh, geez, I tried. The chat is going too fast. I couldn't even. There you go. Deborah Lynn has it right there. Standing ovation from Deborah. Yes, and I want to thank Birdie for coming on, and I want to thank my producer in the back. You're beautiful. Thank you very much. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? You're beautiful. Don't ever give up, man. Don't ever give up. I know. Okay, I'll shut up. Okay, anyway, I want to thank the producer. I want to thank Once Upon a Crime Time mods. They are the best mods out there, bar fucking none. I have the best family out there, the most loving, caring, intelligent family out there. And I love each and every one of you. And you are my heart. And mods, you are my soul. And until next time, rock and roll, right? If I
sleeping around your door. In the still of the night, I feel my heart being heavy. Tell me I gotta have more. In the shadow night, I see the four more eyes. Tell me what's in store. My heart is start aching, my body starts shaking, and I can't take no more. And taste your love so sweet. And I just wanna make love to you. Feel your body heat. In the still of the night.
seems to come. Oh, baby. In a silver night, in a cold light, I feel my heart is aching. In a silver night.
Don't want to find
this loud. It's the one innocent guy. Moscow after midnight, blood on the rail. Every liar's hand on the killer's veil. The truth's a ghost in a phantom crowd. Everyone is guilty with silence this loud.
Whoa! Unlike The Secret, it's time to play. Ashley's Idaho dollhouse is here to